The Adventure of Alex in an English-Speaking Country. A Motivational Story. Chapter 1, A Dream Takes Flight. Alex had always dreamed of visiting an English-speaking country. He loved learning English, but he struggled with speaking fluently. One day, he got an opportunity to study abroad for a year. It was both exciting and terrifying. He knew that this journey would change his life forever. At the airport, Alex felt nervous. Will I be able to understand them? Will they understand me? He wondered. His parents encouraged him, reminding him that learning comes with practice. With a deep breath, he boarded the plane, ready to embrace the challenge. When Alex landed in the new country, everything felt different. People spoke fast, and he couldn't catch every word. At immigration, he hesitated before answering the officer's questions. "Where am I staying?" he stuttered. The officer smiled and helped him. Alex realized that mistakes were okay. As he stepped out of the airport, the adventure truly began. The air smelled different, the roads were busy, and the buildings were taller than he had ever seen. His heart raced with excitement and fear. He had come to learn, and he was determined to succeed. Chapter 2, The First Challenge. Alex took a taxi to his new school. The driver was friendly and asked, "So, where are you from?" Alex hesitated, trying to find the right words. I am from, my country is, Spain," he finally said. The driver smiled and said, "Welcome. You'll love it here." At his new school, Alex had to introduce himself to the class. His heart pounded as he stood up. "Hello, my name is Alex. I come from Spain. I like English," he said slowly. Some students smiled, but others seemed uninterested. He felt embarrassed, but his teacher, Mr. Johnson, clapped and said, "Great job, Alex. You'll improve in no time." During lunch, Alex struggled to order food. He pointed at a sandwich and said, "This one, please." The cashier asked, "Would you like a drink with that?" Alex didn't understand and just nodded. When he received a coffee instead of water, he realized his mistake. "I must learn better," he thought. That night, Alex felt a little discouraged. "Maybe I will never speak fluently," he whispered to himself. But then he remembered his dream. He had come here to learn, and he wouldn't give up so easily. Tomorrow would be a new day, a new chance to improve. Chapter 3, Learning from Mistakes. The next morning, Alex made a promise to himself, "I will not be afraid to speak." He started by greeting people with confidence. "Good morning," he said to his classmates. Some responded warmly, while others simply nodded. Even so, he felt proud of himself. In class, Mr. Johnson gave the students a group project. Alex was paired with Emma and Jake. "Okay, let's divide the work," Emma said. Alex tried to contribute. "I can write and search the information," he said carefully. Jake smiled and replied, "Sounds good, Alex." Later that day, Alex went to a cafe to practice ordering again. This time, he spoke slowly but clearly. "I would like a sandwich and a bottle of water, please." The cashier understood him immediately. Alex felt a rush of happiness. He was improving. That night, Alex wrote in his journal, "Today, I made progress. I still make mistakes, but that's okay. Every mistake is a lesson. I will keep going." He smiled, knowing that one day, he would speak English fluently. Chapter 4, The Power of Practice. Every day, Alex pushed himself to speak more English. He started reading books, watching movies, and listening to conversations. At first, it was hard, but little by little, he understood more words. One afternoon, he went to the park and saw an old man feeding birds. "Hello," Alex said, sitting beside him. "Hello, young man," the old man replied. What's your name? Alex took a deep breath. My name is Alex. I come from Spain. The old man smiled. Nice to meet you, Alex. You speak English well. Alex felt happy but said, no. I make many mistakes. The old man laughed kindly. Mistakes are part of learning. Keep speaking, and you will get better. That conversation gave Alex confidence. He started talking to more people, his classmates, his teachers, and even strangers at the store. The more he practiced, the easier it became. He realized that learning a language was not just about words, it was about courage and patience. Chapter 5, Stepping Out of His Comfort Zone. One day, Mr. Johnson announced a speaking competition. This is a great chance to practice English and gain confidence, he said. Alex's heart skipped a beat. A speaking competition? In front of everyone? The idea scared him. Emma encouraged him. You should try, Alex. You've improved a lot. Alex hesitated but then remembered his goal. Okay, I will try, he said. It was time to push himself further. That night, he stood in front of the mirror, practicing his speech. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex, and I come from Spain. He made mistakes, but he kept going. He recorded himself and listened, correcting his pronunciation. The day of the competition arrived. As Alex walked onto the stage, his hands trembled. He took a deep breath and started speaking. At first, he stumbled on words, but then he focused on his message. He spoke about his journey, his struggles, and his determination to learn. When he finished, the audience clapped. He had done it. Chapter 6, A New Friendship. After the competition, a boy named Daniel approached Alex. Hey, your speech was great, he said. Alex smiled. Thank you. I was very nervous. Daniel laughed. I could tell, but you did well. I also struggled with English when I moved here. Alex was surprised. You, too? Daniel nodded. Yes, but I practiced every day. Now, I can speak fluently. If you want, we can practice together. Alex was thrilled. Having a friend who understood his struggles made him feel better. They started meeting every day, having conversations in English. Daniel corrected Alex's mistakes, and Alex listened carefully. It was the perfect way to improve. With Daniel's help, Alex started feeling more comfortable. He spoke more in class, participated in discussions, and even cracked jokes. Learning English was becoming fun. Chapter 7, Overcoming Fear. One evening, Alex went to a bookstore. He wanted to buy an English novel. When the cashier asked, "Would you like a bag?" Alex panicked. He didn't understand. Bag?" he repeated. The cashier smiled and pointed at a plastic bag. Oh. Yes, please, Alex said, feeling embarrassed. He had been practicing so much, yet he still struggled. Later, he told Daniel about the incident. I feel like I never learn enough, he admitted. Daniel shook his head. That's not true, Alex. Learning a language is a journey. Even native speakers make mistakes. Alex realized he was being too hard on himself. He had come a long way, and he was improving every day. You're right, he said. I will not give up. Chapter 8, A Small Victory. One afternoon, Alex's teacher gave him a challenge: try to go one whole day without speaking your native language. At first, it was difficult. He wanted to switch to Spanish when he didn't know a word. But he forced himself to describe things differently. If he didn't know umbrella, he said, the thing that stops rain. If he forgot hungry, he said, I need food. By the end of the day, he was exhausted but proud. He had spoken only English. Mr. Johnson smiled. Well done, Alex. You're thinking in English now. That's a big step. Alex grinned. He could feel the change. He was no longer just studying English, he was living it. Chapter 9, The First Job Interview. One day, Alex saw a job posting at a local cafe. It was a part-time position, and he thought, this could help me practice English more. But the thought of an interview scared him. What if he couldn't understand the questions? Daniel encouraged him. You should try. I can help you prepare. For days, Alex practiced common interview questions. Tell me about yourself. Why do you want this job? He repeated the answers until he felt confident. On the interview day, he sat nervously across from the manager. So, Alex, do you have experience working in a cafe? Alex hesitated but then answered, no, but I learn fast. I work hard. The manager smiled. That's good to hear. Can you start next week? Alex couldn't believe it. Yes. I can. He had just passed his first interview in English. Chapter 10, Facing Difficult Customers. On his first day at work, Alex struggled to understand customers' orders. Some spoke too fast, and he had to ask them to repeat. Sorry, can you say again? One man got annoyed. Forget it. Just give me black coffee. Alex felt embarrassed, but his coworker reassured him. It happens to everyone. Keep going. Slowly, Alex learned to listen more carefully. He also picked up new words every day. By the end of the week, he was taking orders with more confidence. That night, he wrote in his journal, today was hard, but I didn't give up. I will get better. Chapter 11, The Unexpected Compliment. One afternoon, a woman walked up to the counter. You're new here, right? She asked. Yes, Alex said. I work here, 2 weeks now. She smiled. Your English is good. Alex's eyes widened. Really? Yes. You're improving fast. That small compliment filled him with motivation. He had come a long way from struggling to order food. Now, people noticed his progress. It was a proud moment for him. Chapter 12, Pushing the Limits. Alex decided to challenge himself. Instead of avoiding difficult conversations, he started them. At school, he asked more questions. Mr. Johnson, can you explain this again? At work, he greeted customers first. Good afternoon. How's your day? Some days were frustrating. He still made mistakes. But he reminded himself, every mistake is a step forward. One evening, Daniel told him, you know, Alex, you don't sound like a beginner anymore. Alex smiled. His journey was far from over, but he was becoming the English speaker he had always dreamed of. Chapter 13, A Difficult Phone Call. One day, Alex's manager asked him to answer the cafe's phone. Can you take orders over the phone today? Alex's heart pounded. Speaking in person was hard enough, how would he manage without seeing facial expressions? But he took a deep breath and nodded. I will try. The phone rang. Hello, this is, cafe. How can I help? He said nervously. The customer spoke quickly. Hi, I'd like a large cappuccino, 1 croissant, and a bottle of water to go. Alex froze. Sorry, can you say again, please? The customer sighed but repeated slowly. Alex focused hard and wrote everything down. Okay. 1 large cappuccino, 1 croissant, 1 water. That, correct? Yes. Thank you. When Alex hung up, he exhaled in relief. He had done it. It wasn't perfect, but he handled the call. Chapter 14, Speaking Without Fear. After the phone call experience, Alex decided he would stop worrying about mistakes. He started conversations everywhere, at school, at work, even in the park. One day, he met an old woman feeding pigeons. "Beautiful birds," he said. She smiled. "Yes, they come here every day." "Do you like animals?" Alex hesitated. "Yes, I always like, I liked animals since I was a child." The woman nodded. "I understand you. Your English is good." Alex felt a rush of pride. He was learning that people didn't care about perfect grammar, they just cared about communication. Chapter 15, The Presentation Challenge. Mr. Johnson announced a big project. "Next week, each student will give a presentation in front of the class." Alex panicked. Speaking to one person was fine, but in front of the whole class. His hands felt cold just thinking about it. Daniel helped him practice. "Stand tall, speak slowly, and don't be afraid." Alex prepared day and night. He stood in front of the mirror, practicing his speech. "Good morning, everyone. Today, I will talk about." On the presentation day, his heart raced. But as he started speaking, he realized something: he wasn't afraid anymore. He knew the words. He had practiced. He could do this. When he finished, the class clapped. Mr. Johnson smiled. "Well done, Alex. Your confidence has grown so much." Alex beamed. He had just conquered one of his biggest fears. Chapter 16, An Unexpected Invitation. One evening, Daniel invited Alex to a birthday party. "Come with me. It's a great way to practice English in a social setting." At first, Alex hesitated. Would he be able to keep up with conversations? But he pushed his fears aside and agreed. At the party, he felt nervous. People spoke fast, laughed loudly, and used slang he didn't understand. But instead of staying quiet, he joined small conversations. "Where are you from?" someone asked. "Spain," Alex said. Learning English now. "It is, not easy, but I like it." The person smiled. "You're doing great." By the end of the night, Alex realized something: he was no longer just a student of English. He was becoming part of the world around him. Chapter 17, A Mistake That Taught a Lesson. One day at work, Alex made a big mistake. A customer ordered iced coffee, but Alex misunderstood and gave them hot coffee instead. "This isn't what I ordered," the customer complained. Alex felt embarrassed. I am sorry. I make mistake." His manager stepped in. "Alex, next time, repeat the order back to the customer before preparing it. That way, you'll be sure." Alex nodded. "Yes, I understand. I will do better." That night, he wrote in his journal, "Mistakes are not failures. They are lessons. I will learn from them and improve." Chapter 18, The Power of Reading. Mr. Johnson suggested a new way for Alex to improve his English: reading books. "Try an easy novel. It will help you see how sentences are formed," he said. At first, reading was slow. Alex had to look up many words. But soon, he understood more and more. One evening, he realized he had read 2 pages without checking a dictionary. He smiled. "I am getting better." Reading became his new favorite habit. It wasn't just helping him with English, it was opening up new worlds. Chapter 19, Writing his first story. Inspired by his progress, Alex decided to write a short story in English. He struggled at first. He didn't know how to express some ideas. But he didn't give up. He wrote, made mistakes, corrected them, and kept going. After days of hard work, he finished his story. He showed it to Mr. Johnson. "This is amazing, Alex," his teacher said. Your writing has improved so much. Hearing that made Alex proud. Writing wasn't easy, but just like speaking, practice made it better. Chapter 20, Helping Others. One day, Alex met a new student from Brazil who was struggling with English. "I no understand," the boy said, frustrated. Alex smiled. He understood that feeling. "I help you," he said. He spoke slowly and explained things in simple words. The boy's face lit up. "Thank you." Helping someone else made Alex realize how far he had come. He was no longer just learning, he was teaching. Chapter 21, A Surprise Call from Home. One evening, Alex received a call from his mother. "How is your English now?" she asked. Without thinking, Alex answered in English. "It's much better, Mama. I can speak with people now. I even have a job and friends here." There was silence. Then his mother laughed. "You sound so different. I am so proud of you." Hearing that filled Alex's heart with joy. His journey had not been easy, but it was worth it. Chapter 22, A New Dream. Now that Alex was confident in English, he started thinking about his future. "What do you want to do next?" Daniel asked him one day. Alex smiled. "I want study more. Maybe university." Daniel nodded. "You should. You've worked so hard. You can do anything now." For the first time, Alex truly believed those words. Chapter 23, The Final Test. At the end of the school year, Alex had to take an English proficiency test. It was his biggest challenge yet. He studied hard, practiced speaking, and reviewed grammar. When the test day arrived, he was nervous, but ready. When he saw the results, he couldn't believe it. He had passed with a high score. He ran to tell Mr. Johnson. "I did it. I passed." His teacher smiled. "I always knew you would." Chapter 24, Saying Goodbye. The school year ended, and Alex had to say goodbye to Mr. Johnson, Daniel, and his co-workers at the cafe. "You changed so much since you arrived," Daniel said. "We will miss you." Alex smiled. "I will miss you too. But, this is not goodbye forever." His journey in this country had changed him. He was no longer the shy boy who was afraid to speak. He was now confident, ready for new adventures. Chapter 25, A New Beginning. Alex returned to Spain, but he wasn't the same person anymore. He could now speak English fluently. He could write, read, and even help others. Standing in his hometown, he thought about his journey. It had been hard, but every struggle had made him stronger. Looking at the sky, he whispered, "This is just the beginning." With a smile, he stepped forward, ready for whatever came next. The end. Chapter 20, Helping Others. One day, Alex met a new student from Brazil who was struggling with English. "I no understand," the boy said, frustrated. Alex smiled. He understood that feeling. "I help you," he said. He spoke slowly and explained things in simple words. The boy's face lit up. "Thank you." Helping someone else made Alex realize how far he had come. He was no longer just learning, he was teaching. Chapter 21, A Surprise Call from Home. One evening, Alex received a call from his mother. "How is your English now?" she asked. Without thinking, Alex answered in English. "It's much better, Mama. I can speak with people now. I even have a job and friends here." There was silence. Then his mother laughed. "You sound so different. I am so proud of you." Hearing that filled Alex's heart with joy. His journey had not been easy, but it was worth it. Chapter 22, A New Dream. Now that Alex was confident in English, he started thinking about his future. "What do you want to do next?" Daniel asked him one day. Alex smiled. I want, study more. Maybe, university. Daniel nodded. You should. You've worked so hard. You can do anything now. For the first time, Alex truly believed those words. Chapter 23, The Final Test. At the end of the school year, Alex had to take an English proficiency test. It was his biggest challenge yet. He studied hard, practiced speaking, and reviewed grammar. When the test day arrived, he was nervous, but ready. When he saw the results, he couldn't believe it. He had passed with a high score. He ran to tell Mr. Johnson. I did it. I passed. His teacher smiled. I always knew you would. Chapter 24, Saying Goodbye. The school year ended, and Alex had to say goodbye to Mr. Johnson, Daniel, and his co-workers at the cafe. You changed so much since you arrived, Daniel said. We will miss you. Alex smiled. I will miss you too. But, this is not, goodbye forever. His journey in this country had changed him. He was no longer the shy boy who was afraid to speak. He was now confident, ready for new adventures. Chapter 25, A New Beginning. Alex returned to Spain, but he wasn't the same person anymore. He could now speak English fluently. He could write, read, and even help others. Standing in his hometown, he thought about his journey. It had been hard, but every struggle had made him stronger. Looking at the sky, he whispered, this is just the beginning. With a smile, he stepped forward, ready for whatever came next. The end.